Okay, are we ready to make a start?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So I am your host for the evening. I'm Maija Palmer. I am the innovation editor at Sifted, which if you don't know, you need to go check it out, sifted.eu. We focus on writing about European startups. We were spun out of the FT about a year ago and going strong. So, and it's my pleasure to have three very interesting people speaking to us tonight at this eToro Fireside Future of Money Management talk. So it's Thursday night, we're here to talk about money management, but I promise you we're going to make it fun. So first up is Iqbal, who many of you know, Managing Director of eToro's UK business activities. I think we have the... That's a nice picture. Who likes Iqbal's picture? I like it. So anyway, and also, so not only are you Managing Director of the UK activities of eToro, but also chair of, or you've been chair of
Yep. I just stepped down after 2 years.
Crypto UK, which is the first self-regulatory trade body for the crypto industry. And prior to eToro, this was interesting, so CMO and CTO at various companies, including Nutmeg, so a good one to have on the portfolio, and also a serial entrepreneur of various companies, including, is this true, India's largest web hosting business?
Back in the day, yes.
Okay, so a seasoned entrepreneur, but now here to talk about kind of how money management is changing, people's investment styles and habits are changing, and kind of what eToro has learned from becoming. I mean, you guys, your ambition is to be the kind of one-stop shop for all sorts of online trading. But let's start off with, tell us why we're here. I mean, why did you decide to host this event?
People in London need feeding and need drink. I think...
and beer.
And beer, there we go. No, I think there's lots of fintech apps in London. We keep talking about fintech, and whether it's a Robinhood or a Revolut or a Monzo or a Tide. But what we're not doing is actually talking about money. We're not talking about the basics, and we're overcomplicating money, and we think the apps are going to solve everything for us. So I think a lot of the fintech companies need to come together, and they need to start, and I don't want to use the word education, because people switch off the moment you say education. I think we need to just start talking about money and not be embarrassed about talking about money, and how much money we're making.
Yeah, and connecting to it.
And connecting to it.
Yeah. So, but let's talk about the technology, because obviously that is at the forefront, and fintech, I mean, for Sifted, this is our most popular section. Out of any topic, if we just put fintech in the title of an article, people will read that. So, fintechs are changing a lot. Well, I mean, what have you seen as the main ways that technology has changed things?
I think technology, or most innovations, only ever do three things for us. If you boil down what most entrepreneurs do, the technology is either going to save you time, it's going to save you money, or it's going to make you money. It's fundamentally what all the fintech apps out there are doing. And I think if you have a look at eToro, we're trying to tick the box of making you money, saving you money, because we're commission free on shares, but also saving you time with the apps.
And what do you think people should be thinking? I mean, what direction is money management going? I mean, what should we be thinking about?
In terms of money management, I think the mistake that we're making is that we're thinking that the applications are going to help us manage our money. We still need to understand the basics. They're merely a tool. They're not going to help us invest. They're not going to tell us you should be investing at Facebook. They're not really going to save money. Now, anecdotal evidence and a data point of one, I don't think my wife saves more money because she uses Revolut, right? Or Monzo. Okay. Even though it shows all the where you're spending, where you're not spending, I would say they're not really helping save.
And why is that? Why do you think it's not really helping?
Maybe we just don't have enough money to save. No, I think...
eToro is doing well, though. Really bad.
No, fundamentally, I think that's the problem. We like spending. Again, it comes down to understanding the fundamentals. It's not the app, it's a tool to help us do something. Mm-hmm. But if we don't understand the fundamentals of that, you should invest before you spend every month, we're never going to save money.
And is this, I mean, what trends have you seen running eToro now for, in terms of the behavior of the people that you see on that? I mean, we'll get into some of those questions, but I just wondered on a broad level, I mean, have you been surprised at the way you've seen people manage or not manage their money, or come into investing it and not really understanding how that works?
Well, I think crypto was an interesting one. The individuals who got into crypto were people who weren't open to trading before. They hadn't understood investing or trading. Internally, we use the term that maybe crypto is the gateway drug into the world of investing. We saw that audience change over 4 quarters, over a year. It started off with the individuals who understood blockchain, to the individuals who were developers, to those who then carried fintech apps like Monzo on their phone, to my hairdresser. And then that audience evolved, and now all these individuals had never traded before, but now they were open to trading and they were open to investing. So that's one thing we found interesting. And the second was, and I don't want to plug our platform too much here, but the people who didn't know about trading on our platform, they just came and copied the traders, which is the USP of our platform.
Yeah. And you said it was crypto was a gateway drug. How many people then did you manage to convert into becoming regular stock traders? So
we didn't actively have a program to convert, but we found over 10% of the people who came in to trade crypto or buy Bitcoin or XRP went on to buy stocks and shares.
10% is quite a lot. And what do you think it was about crypto that made them so much more excited than your regular stock market?
They were connected. And that's what it comes down to. We need to connect people back to stocks and shares. We need to connect people back to the companies. With Bitcoin, they understood a little, they could have a conversation in a bar and pretend they really understood blockchain. But the fact was that they could really talk about this. We can't, over a barbecue, talk about our pension funds or ETFs, or they're really boring. What are you going to say that I've bought a FTSE 100 ETF?
Yeah, because you don't know what's in it.
You don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
And we need to go back to basics. We need to start investing directly in the companies, or know what our pension funds are investing in.
Yeah. So what financial innovation are you most excited about at the moment?
Blockchain.
Okay. Well, you would say that as chair of Crypto UK.
No, truly blockchain. So 20, 25 years ago, my background was building internet service providers here in the UK in 93, 94, when there wasn't anything. And the internet was all about communication. It was never about e-commerce. It's about being able to send a message quickly and cheaply. Because of that, we developed e-commerce. Without email, Amazon wouldn't really work. The blockchain is all about value, the movement of value. That's even more powerful, and the market size is even bigger than it was for communication. So imagine how big the blockchain can be.
So where are we going to go with blockchain then? What's the next step for that?
I think there's 3 or 4 things we have to get right, and this is not just blockchain, this is for crypto assets as a whole. The first one is we need to have custody. Somebody needs to look after our Bitcoin. We can leave it with companies like eToro, but maybe you want to leave it with somebody else, like a Fidelity or a Nomura, which is fine. The second is we need what I call structured product, or ETF 2.0s, based on the blockchain. The third is we need regulation, which is coming. Regulation, crypto industry is not scared of regulation anymore, in the sense that it's quite supportive. So for instance, BaFin in Germany announced as of 1st of January that banks could sell Bitcoin.
Okay.
So it's very supportive, and maybe that's what's causing the price movement. And the fourth part is utilization. PayPal would never have been successful if it wasn't for eBay. So we need to find that one utilization partner. For instance, Burger King, was it in Venezuela last week or something, announced that you can buy burgers using Dash, and hence there was movement in the Dash.
So we need like the killer app, the killer use case.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen some of those. I mean, and up to now it's been very gimmicky. A retailer will announce that they'll now, accept some currency. But what moves it beyond that, do you think?
I think it's just we have to watch and wait. It really is evolution. We could say the same thing about the internet. We were sending emails over absolutely nothing, and now we do everything on the internet.
Yeah. So what are you scared about? I mean, what do you think we should be? Well, no, I think in the world of money management and fintech.
I'm concerned about the subscription mentality. So Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, Audible, our broadband, our gym membership, everything is $9.99 a month, it's $14.99 a month. And we think it's cheap, But if we sat down and actually added all those subscriptions, they form a significant part of our monthly salary. We're not doing that. And we need to do that. And for me, that trend, it's great for companies, yeah, because it's an easy sell for us. We say $9.99, come and join us and we'll provide you the world, right? But I think individuals need to be really, really conscious of signing up for everything, 12-month contracts, because if you were to lose your job for 3 months, those subscriptions aren't going to go away.
Yeah, and I think there's also a worrying trend that kind of, you never own anything, you're always just subscribed to it. So, you know, the minute you stop subscribing to it, you no longer have your music library.
Yeah.
You don't
And most of us forget. So we don't, I mean, it's January, it's gym month, right? Everybody's taken out a gym membership. I'm presuming everybody's taken out a gym membership. Who's going to use it in 3 months? And I've subscribed to so many things. I don't even remember what I subscribed to.
Do you think we are being so? I mean, it's definitely been a trend, and this is the business model that every company wants at the moment. Do you think we're being kind of sold a false promise that this is nobody's thinking that this is actually going to be very bad news for? We're being constantly told that millennials don't want to own anything; they want to be really free. But I personally kind of question that. Like
I would much rather own something. And I think what companies need to look at from a subscription model, or someone like, I don't know, maybe it's a Tide, in the sense that if I've subscribed using a debit card or a credit card, and I haven't used that service, so I recently subscribed to Audible, I think I used it for 2 days. 2 days. Somebody should notice my pattern of usage and saying, well, he hasn't used it for a month or 2 months, and automatically unsubscribe me. Companies should do that. That's their responsibility.
Yeah, or maybe somebody could do it, you know, have a business.
Somebody develop an app and do it for me.
Yeah,
right?
Or, you know, a Monzo.
Like, the idea was here, I'll take 10% of it.
Okay, so look, we're at a money management talk. So I want to get down into a few kind of investing questions, because I think basically we're just going to pick your brains on what we should invest in. But I wanted to ask a general question first, which is, again, have you seen a shift in the types of people? We talked a little bit about new people coming in with crypto, but in general, like, what trends have you seen in how people invest on eToro specifically? And is that changing?
I think there is a generational difference that we're now starting to see. It's not en masse that everybody, millennials or whatever they're called, 20 to 30-year-olds, but that trend has started. They're more open to investing. I was going to say they're more open to taking risk, but they're definitely more open to investing. I still don't see them thinking about pensions. I think pensions are too far away and they're too much of a commitment.
They don't think they're ever going to get old. That's the problem, which is going to disappoint them one day. But
we're not getting old. We're not getting old. So there's a generational shift, and they are starting to take more ownership, and they are now coming into the world of investing. They may not know how to invest, so you know, whether they'll learn from others or go on a trading course, or they'll just copy other people in what they're investing in. But we're definitely seeing the younger generation coming on board.
Do you think young people now are more or less interested in investing than they would have been, say, a generation ago?
I think in the 80s there was a great campaign in the UK. When privatisation happened, and it had got an entire generation into investing into electricity companies, gas companies, etc. when they were privatised. That moment hasn't really happened, and Bitcoin almost did something, but it was very difficult to make that jump for some people from Bitcoin to buying Facebook shares. And it's something I still don't quite understand, but
yeah. And where do you think it's going to go from here? I mean, again, over the next, say, decade, do you think, well, you know, some of these people who are now trying out some risks and things, how do you see that evolving?
Well, hopefully they'll understand that, well, firstly, hopefully they'll manage their risk, and you know, they don't lose their entire life savings, but hopefully they'll understand also that the first bet or investment they make may not work, right? It's not a trial and error, it's more of, unless you dip your feet into it, you really won't be invested in it, which means you're not really going to learn. And my thing is Thursday night, I would say, if you're going to go out on Thursday night, and whatever you're going to go out on a Thursday, Friday night, just take that and go and buy a couple of shares of Apple, and that's it. Okay. Don't do anything more than that, because the worst case scenario, you just haven't gone out on Thursday, Friday night, that's it.
Okay, all right. But what if I've got a little bit more money? Like, so imagine that I don't work in media and I actually have £1,000 sitting around doing nothing. What should I put it into?
So, is anyone here from the regulator? So this isn't financial advice, I just want to kind of get the camera and everything, financial advice.
And I actually don't have £1,000, so this would be
So the imaginary,
academic.
hypothetical £1,000, I would put it all on Bitcoin. I'll put it all on Bitcoin.
Okay, excellent. So what's he going to go up to then?
Ooh, that's a good one. I lost a bit on that last year. He's not in his way. That's a very difficult one to say.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to, I can say 50,000, 100,000. That doesn't actually mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the technology and what it's doing.
Yeah.
If you believe in that and if you really understand what's going on underneath the hood, there's absolutely nowhere else I put the money.
Okay.
Or someone at the back's going to say that the return on Tesla this year is higher than Bitcoin. Yeah, it's like, there we go. Oh, there we go. So.
All right. So maybe if I want to hedge my bets, I have Bitcoin and Tesla. So.
Yeah. Elon Musk, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. And so I'm guessing that's also your prediction for crypto in 2022. Or are there other kind of cryptocurrencies we should be looking at?
So without digressing, and you know, there aren't 2,000 currencies out there. There's about 5.
Yeah.
The others are simply investments into different business models. So Ethereum is a decentralized finance platform, a decentralized computing platform. So I think, as with other investments, you just look at the verticals you're interested in. If you want to invest in a social network, take a bet on the social network. If you want to bet in a currency, take a bet on the currency.
Yeah. Okay, we need to wrap up so we can get to our other speakers, but I've got 2 quick fire questions for you.
Yeah.
One is, what's going to be the biggest fintech story this year?
eToro buying Monzo.
Okay.
That's a joke, just to clarify, we're not even looking at it. So I think there'll be some kind of amalgamation, there'll be some coming together of a few fintech companies.
Okay.
I really think that needs to happen.
Are you looking at anything that isn't Monzo? She says, taking a notepad out.
No.
Okay.
I mean, no, we're not looking at anything else, and we're not looking at Monzo.
Okay. All right, watch the space then. And then the final one is, obviously, I'm not going to say the B word, but tomorrow we will be leaving the EU. So what does London need to do to keep its crown as the sort of European, or even the global fintech hub?
Simple. Companies like that out there need to be sitting in here. It really is. We need the old school and the new school to come together somewhere.
Yep.
And if we can get that right.
Did you invite them?
Did we buy them?
Did you invite them?
Did we invite them? Did we invite them? They should invite us.
Okay. Anybody here from a traditional bank? You know, old school bank? Oh, one. Okay.
There's
so
1, 2, 3. Oh, good.
You need to talk to these guys afterwards and talk about how you can come together. But anyway, thank you very much, Iqbal. We're going to have a panel at the end where we'll come back to some of this, and there will be questions, so you'll have an opportunity then. Save your questions for that point. But thank you very much.
Thank you.